Who are you?
Don't say who are you, because when you say who are you, I think of the who killed 11 people in Cincinnati, Ohio.
You want to elaborate on that?
Whom am I? That's it. Well, okay. You just triggered off one of my rock liberation emotions. And before I can say who I am, which I'm not one of the who, of course, obviously, I'm not a murderer, so I can't be one of the who. The difference between me and the who is that they kill people I don't. And self-claimed responsibility reminds me of the Christian Bible of Pontius Pilate saying, I am innocent of this man's blood. And he puts his hands into the bowl and they say, it'll be on our blood and our children, etc. And the Bible being a distortion of somebody who self-acclaimed that he wasn't guilty of the sins of murder. And who are the same way. They are the ones who incite it because they are the ones who are starring the show. And if they can start it, they can stop it. And they can make the conditions, they're big enough now to make the conditions the way they want. 10 years or 15 years ago, that could have been not true. But today they have the responsibility as a rock group to make sure the fans are totally safe while they're performing before, during, and after. They didn't take that responsibility, and the ultimate was Townsend getting drunk on cognac and sleeping away the problem after it was over. And then playing on and dedicating the Buffalo concert to the 11 people who died and keeping the money for themselves. Hell, that's anyone could do that. I'll sponsor anything if you're going to pay me for it, if that's the way it's going to be. And so that's where I'll just say, make that one comment. As the rock and roll people are dying over and over again, from Jimi Hendrix to Joplin to Brian Jones, the names are just full with the reality from Brian Epstein to Mal Evans, the road manager, getting bullet holes in his stomach from the LA police. And here's another encounter from Keith Moon dying wasn't enough. With the 11 people, it makes like the 12 apostles, making everyone a martyr. It is a subconscious death wish they have in rock and roll. This is why I call my group Death. Not because we like to see people die, it's so we can make people aware of the people who make them die. And the Who are the last encounter group are being responsible for murdering now the fans. The group ain't satisfied with killing one of their own without killing the others. And don't say, well, how do you know? I want them to prove to me that they're innocent. I take no chances. They're guilty until they prove themselves innocent. If they can't prove to me that they're innocent, they'll be always guilty of the sin of murdering 11 people in Cincinnati, Ohio in December.
Getting back to my question, where did you come from? I mean...
Who am I? Okay, I'm basically from the city, born in Manhattan. And grew up basically in Brooklyn and Queens. But mostly important, my whole lifestyle is basically based in the village. Worked from Wall Street. I learned the stock market, the ups and downs, never knowing there would be pills in the future. The ups and downs are pills instead of just stock. Now it's pot and rot, And I basically branched myself into the village, Greenwich Village and East Village, the Lower East Side. And been into rock and roll from 1966, when I started seeing people in Washington Square Park being brainwashed by these idiots who call themselves musicians, just babysitting groups instead of participating. I always believe that the fans should participate as much as the group itself. And what this means is going to Woodstock, seeing 400,000 people play music and 5 people on stage watching. That's the way it should be. It should be both ways. Musicians should be changing places with the fans. This would be ultimately it can't be depressed anymore. So what we did here is go to all the street demonstrations. I also went to where I have people just playing in our groups. I have so many bands, just getting people a chance to participate in music. Right up until I did the marijuana record for Electric Records, using that scope of corporation to be able to give me the means to do what I want to do as I see what the people want to be done through their eyes and my own.
Do you think the 60s was a better time than the 70s?
It was an awakening, a reawakening, making people more aware. The 70s were totally dark ages. It was the worst. Everything we learned in the 60s just corrupted itself.
Do you think youth has changed over?
Youth never really changes. Society does. They only are the victims. They are only the plants that are grown inside that ground, and they have changed in that sense of the word, because they don't know where they're going. Because a lot of them are too damn lazy. A lot of them are the masters of their asses. A lot of people who want things done are too damn lazy to do it. And the other ones are just ignorant to the facts. And the ones who have the desire have no one to look up to or around. And so you're caught in this catch-22. You're damn if you're right, damn if you're wrong, because you're already in the poison of the pits of the 70s. Now, a lot of people are really anti-disco. I'm partly anti-disco. I can't say I hate it completely. It's a new type of sound like this. It works for a certain element of people, you know. For people who want to dance, disco's great. For people who want to go to concerts, it's a different kind of music. But then again, that's a total contradiction. Nothing should be good or bad. It should be all interpreted for whatever the meaning or the time you need that thing. I mean, the stuff that people listen to now are the 60s, you know, and a concert, it hasn't really improved itself. Disco has shown, in production-wise, that you need better musicians to play better music. And all it was a signal to show that these so-called middle-class rock fans gotta get their shit together. And the way you do that is bring yourself updated to the times. Listen to the sounds of the 60s and the quality of production. Listen to the 70s. That's one thing the 70s has done. It brought the quality of production up. I'm not saying better music, but better sounds. Ladies and gentlemen! Oh, I screwed up. Disco sucks! I hate disco. Disco sucks. I hate disco. The disco sucks. I hate disco. Disco sucks. I hate disco. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. John Travolta sucks. Disco sucks. That's right. Studio 54 sucks. Disco sucks. The sleazy Bee Gees. Disco sucks. The village people. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. Walking along the streets of Manhattan. Disco sucks. Better be careful, cause the people are mean. Disco sucks. Straight face, I don't care, people all around us. Muggers and rapists terrorizing the town. Disco sucks. Rock and roll fucks. Disco sucks. Rock and roll fucks. Disco sucks. That's right. I hate disco. Disco sucks. All right. I hate disco. Disco sucks. I hate disco. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. I hate disco. I hate disco. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. Rock and roll fucks. Disco sucks. Rock and roll fucks. Disco sucks. Right now I'm in the period, like Picasso had the blue period, the red period. I have the street period But the thing between me and Picasso is I'll keep on keep on adding on to it. Like for example, right now we're getting into folk rock now, basically folk rock, cleaner music, and into a little more pop. And I'm doing anti-disco, I'm doing pro-disco, just to bring myself updated like this, so I will not be polarized by any particular peers of my own.
Yeah, but isn't protest music in itself outdated?
As long as there's a conflict, there'll never be an outdated protest.
Mm-hmm.
In order for that to be outdated, people have got to become outdated. If you know what's happening in Iran right now, you obviously see, without protests, there's no resistance. You need that. It'll be there as much as there's apple pie and milk and honey.
How do you support yourself nowadays?
Music.
Can you be specific about?
I play at Mills Tavern every weekend. I get some money there. I sell my own records to my own record company called Orange Records. I make my own albums. As you see, as you saw probably up there before on the other wall, all my albums. And every week I'm producing records of my own. And plus I'm doing a few of my other friends. I'm recording them. I get a piece of the action there. And with this way of doing my own records, I'm able to basically support myself, growing as I go along.
Do you still play in the park for free though?
Once in a while. Too many schmucks there right now to deal with that.
Yeah.
I will not force myself to play when people have ugly attitudes, not just towards me but towards themselves. I am not here to beg for their attention. I go by the vibes. If they're in a good sense of disposition, I'll be. If they're bastards, I'll be bastards. In other words, for every action they give me, I give a reaction the same way.
Okay. Well, what about marijuana? What's so good about marijuana that you would write about a dozen songs about it?
Marijuana is good because it is the sacrament of the head and mind. It began thousands of years ago. And mind expands, makes you create more. It gives you alternatives. It beats alcohol drunks. It's better. People who drink beer get a beer belly. People who smoke pot get a pot belly. Logic. Rock and roll has been influenced by pot. The people of today and long hair has been influenced by pot. It makes you sensuously more agreeable. It makes you think quicker. It makes you relax in a very tight-knitted world of confusion and chaos. And for you people who want to look for tomorrow, marijuana should be the national anthem of the world because it works. No cancer, only pleasure and creativity through marijuana. As a matter of fact, I'm the only one in rock and roll who uses the word marijuana as a title for an album. It's bona fide. They're so afraid of that word because they're afraid of truth. And the truth is more stranger than fiction. That's why I smoke that strange killer weed called marijuana, which means Mary Jane.
What would you do?
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. The Pope smokes dope! The dope smokes Pope!
Dope is the
And Coke! Hope! Oh, Santa Claus is full of shit. The Pope smokes dope! God gave him the grass. Pope smokes dope! He likes to smoke in mass. Pope smokes dope! He's a groovy header! Pope smokes dope! The Pope smokes dope! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! God is hired. Jacking Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill forgot to take a pill, now she's got a daughter. Every Jew and Protestant, every Catholic knows that marijuana is a groovy way to trip. Pope smokes dope, God gave him the grass. Pope smokes dope, he likes to smoke in mass. Pope smokes dope, he's a groovy header. The Pope smokes dope, the Pope smokes dope, the Pope smokes dope, the Pope smokes
dope, cha-cha-chow. Amen. Hey, here come the cops. Hey, the police. The police. I'm proud to be a New York City hippie. I'm proud of dirty feet and dirty hair. I'm proud of living with the cockroaches. I'm proud of living in a garbage can. I'm proud to be a New York City hippie. I'm proud of dirty feet and dirty hair. I'm proud of living with the cockroaches. I'm proud of living in a garbage can. Yeah. Dope. What? Dope. No, all you think we do is smoke marijuana. All you think we do is burn your flags. You are just a bunch of crazy rednecks. I'm proud to be a New York City hippie. Now all you think we are crazy hippies. We are. All you think we do is like to trip. That's all we like to do. But all you do is boil your cows and chickens. Animals like you are full of shit. I'm proud to be a New York City hippie. I'm proud of dirty feet and dirty hair. I'm proud of living with the cockroaches. Hell. I'm proud of living in a garbage can. I do not endorse this movie. I'm a respectable businessman. We're heading to work with our FM. We're the hippies, the hippie from New York. Right on! Like code! Hooray for Pat Boone!
Tell me about your campaign.
For John Lennon for president. Let me say first, in the last day of 1979, called Goodbye the 70s, we're going to have in Times Square at 10 o'clock exactly, on the billboard there in Times Square, a big giant message saying, John Lennon for president, from David Peel and the Apple Band. That is our greetings for Goodbye 70s. Hello, 80s. And with this, we're going to officially make 1980s the campaign for John Lennon for President of the United States. We're going to start by having an album called John Lennon for President of the United States, or John Lennon for President with David Peel and a Super Apple Band. I'm going to have Yoko Ono singing one of the songs which we already have taped, called America. And with this now, we're going to use the symbolism of rock and roll as a rock and roll party, as John Lennon. He doesn't know about this, by the way. Imagine, right? And my philosophy on this point is, it is better to have the truth of fantasy than the lies of reality. John Lennon for President of the United States. We're going to start it in New York City, because that's where he is right now. The Big Apple from the Super Apple Band. And we're just going to use a symbolic means of saying that, using just like 1984 George Orwell, though, you know, will make people aware that there is an alternative from bad, and that alternative is good. So why not use something that's good, even if it isn't true? But then again, you can always change the Constitution, can't you? They try to throw him out of the country, he's here. So if he can succeed in that way, there's no reason why he can't go all the way. And the people who try to defeat him, he can become a victory of. So we'll use the minds and imaginations for the future in 1980 for the campaigning of whoever becomes the president, with a self-awareness that John Lennon for president will be making us self-aware that whoever becomes, or whoever we vote for, if you vote at all, make sure that candidate is good. President, John Lennon for president, John Lennon for president, John Lennon for president, John
John Lennon for president. John Lennon for president. Imagine there's no heaven, it's easy if you try. John Lennon for president. No hell below us, above us only sky. John Lennon for president. Imagine all the people living for today. John Lennon for president. Imagine all the people living for today. John Lennon for president. 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 Imagine no possessions, I wonder if you can. John Lennon for president. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. John Lennon for president. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. John Lennon for president. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. John Lennon for president. 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 Right now.
Rock and Roll University is an offspring of the Rock Liberation Front. Rock Liberation Front destroys the bad in rock and roll. Rock and Roll University is a benefit of the rock culture movement for the people to educate themselves in this sophisticated thing called rock and roll, believe it or not. We cannot live in the stone ages of rock. We can live in the rock ages, but not in the stone ages of it. We got to bring ourselves into the era of music. And the education of Rock and Roll University, which will be a free school, which I am starting with my friends in the rock culture movement and Rock Liberation Front, will begin this whole thing from Washington Square Park and the Lower East Side in the East Village to begin rock and roll, forever, forever rock and roll, through knowing and educating yourselves and performing the arts and sciences of the rock arts.
We'll do part marijuana and up against all motherfucker, we call it. Marijuana, 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 marijuana. I love marijuana, you love marijuana, we love marijuana too. I wanna be a hippie and I wanna get stoned on marijuana. I wanna be a runaway god to leave home for marijuana. Remember the teeny bob sniffing the airplane glue. Marijuana. We look no bird grubs and take a pot too. For marijuana. I wanna smoke pot. I wanna smoke a lot. Why not? The head come a little chickadee is turning me on. No marijuana. Marijuana, 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 marijuana. I love marijuana, you love marijuana. I love marijuana, you love marijuana. I love marijuana, you love marijuana. We love marijuana too. Hey! What's the joint?
Happy down here.
It's all a combination. Up against the wall, motherfucker! Almost somebody wants to let it off. So up against the wall, motherfucker! Up against the wall, motherfucker! Up against the wall! Up against the wall! Up against the wall, motherfucker! La 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 la! La 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 la! La 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 No more Peter Meter up a wall. Up against the wall, motherfucker, I'm stoned. Up against the wall, up against the wall, up against the wall. Up against the wall, up against the wall.